What's going on, everybody? This is Stubbs here from Retro Handhelds. Today we're going to take a look at the PowKiddy X55 sent to us from Go Game Geek. Want to thank those guys for sending this over. This is a unique case because this is actually a dev unit, so it's going to be different from retail a bit. There are a few funny quirks in this. And I want to do a quick shout out again to the JelOS team. So we have JelOS loaded on here. By default, it comes with Emulec. Retail will be shipping with JelOS. But they've created a one-off build for me to use for this video since this is a unique unit here. So thanks to Fute, to Brooksy Tech, and also to E1000 for helping me build this latest version of JelOS on here. So this is an RK3566 handheld with a 16:9 aspect ratio. This particular one comes with a 64 gig SD card from Go Game Geek. They're pricing this at $125 to start. A comparable unit from PowKiddy Direct is going to be about $110. The supposed benefit being that they can ship faster. This has a 5.5-inch IPS RGB display, 2 gigs of RAM. It runs Linux, has the ARM Mali G52. This one is the blue SKU. This is the only colorway that I know of so far. Material is going to be ABS plastic, and it has a 4,000 milliamp hour battery, so that's pretty nice. 3566, we kind of know what this one can do already. We've seen this on multiple Burnout devices, other PowKiddy devices, the RK2023, of course. This one does have Wi-Fi, though, so that's one thing to note, which is nice. I wish it was a 4:3 aspect ratio. The quad-core chip on here with the clock speed currently at 1.8 gigahertz has USB-C charging as well as an OTG port, a mini HDMI out. We have a headphone jack. We've reset power button, switch style sticks that are clickable. Face buttons are mushy. Feels similar to RGB 10 Max units. This is almost, I would say, a successor to the RGB 10 Max series. D-pad has a nice pivot, no false diagonals that I've been getting in my few weeks of testing here. Very clicky buttons on the bottom here for select and start. One funny thing to note is volume up is on the left, volume down is on the right. That's something we don't see every day. As far as shoulder buttons, super clicky. Here, listen to this. L1 and R1. Very, very clicky, L2 and R2. I believe that is one thing that might be different on the retail, so I've heard. On the back, we just have that minimal branding for PowKiddy and X55. But this is a really good feeling matte plastic. If it starts to heat up, you are going to notice some fingerprints showing up on the back, but they fade away. And nothing that a good microfiber cloth can't take care of. Let's dive right into some games. Compared to the RK2023, compared to the Burnout 353V series, performance has been lagging. So there's been some optimizations happening from the JelOS team. One other issue to note that we've heard about is battery indicator not being accurate. What you want to do there is just discharge the battery all the way and then charge it back up so it can resync itself. As long as you're not stretching, I think 4.3 content is going to look just fine on here. Banana Peel's got nothing on me. There you go, Donkey Kong. You know what? So far, this is running a lot better than stock. I would say I just don't like playing this in bed at night because of how loud these shoulder buttons are. Hey, how about that? Looking at this custom firmware option, which again is going to be the default OS for this thing from most shippers, at least from PowKiddy directly, we can turn on retro achievements, and that's really nice to have since we have Wi-Fi in this. Also for scraping box art, brightness on this panel, this is another point of contention. This one shipped to me pretty decently bright. Here it is on the brightest setting. For the camera, I turn it down a little bit, but let's look at the lowest setting. But many units of the early review units were just very, very dark. And that's the nice thing. Unfortunately, these are loud, but the nice thing about the screen playing in bed at night is that it can get very dark. But the screen has beautiful contrast, beautiful saturation. I like that we have 2 down-firing speakers. We have 2 micro SD card slots. Lately, the trend has been to put the speakers on the back, so I'm glad that they're at least on the bottom. Good feel. I would say very good ergonomics in this, though. This curves around the hands nicely, has a nice kind of bump out here. And if we do a comparison real quick, a little thicker than a Switch Lite, especially with that bump out. It's about the same width, though. So it feels just really good in the hands. And that's one of my favorite features. The blue on it is pretty... It looks similar to the Win600's blue to me. I like that. Weight-wise, it's very, very light for what it is. It almost feels like it needs to be a little heavier. The reason being the battery is actually pretty small. If you are maxing it out, probably is going to get you 3 to 4 hours. People were also saying that if you're looking for a screen protector, that the Razer Phone 2 screen protector on Amazon seems to work well. I would generally agree. I happen to have a Razer Phone 2 with an unopened screen protector, so I put one on here, and this did fit, but it doesn't completely fill up the bezels. This is a solid panel, man. This looks nice. Now the RK 2023 gets much brighter. All right, so moving on to something a bit more tough. Let's do Dreamcast. Sonic Adventure 2. This is one that's been chugging. As far as speakers go, they sound pretty good. I wouldn't say they're
Sigma Alpha 2
cream of the crop.
South over the city. We're en route. Everything's a go.
Yeah, so we're still getting slow down in Sonic here. But once you let it load for a few minutes, you'll notice the frames do get near full speed, but lots of dips. And there's further optimizations to be had, because if you've used another 3566 device, you know you can get stronger Dreamcast performance. Let's do some PSP, some Crash Tag Team Racing. How about that? There's been a lot of drama surrounding this device in the last month or so. Shem, Retro Breeze, check out his channel. He has some great explanations of sort of what's been happening. I don't want to get too deep into it here, but basically PowKiddy sent, or rather someone from PowKiddy took some devices, sent them to dropshippers early, Mech DIY, Go Game Geek, amongst others, Geek Buying, and they started sending them out to reviewers. Now, the unit, both the software and the hardware, really wasn't ready to be shown off yet. And I believe I have a unique unit from the next batch of dev units where you have a brighter panel to begin with, because the first panel, it could not get bright, and that seemed to be software related. This one does get bright enough. I wouldn't say it's RK 2023 bright, but it definitely is usable in the daytime, which I think should be a base requirement, that a handheld should look good both in daytime and at nighttime. Or what are we doing here? Single player? Okay. Yeah. Thanks, Crash. You got to calm down on those carbonated beverages. PSP is not running so well. Yikes. We're chugging here. Let's try another PSP game. Soundtrack on Burnout is so good. So good. There's a few kind of cool sales and promotions that this particular dropshipper has. They say if you spend a certain amount, and they'll send you a free RGB20S or PowKiddy A66 when you send $300 to $500 on any products on Go Game Geek. That's cool. And you get that 351MP or RGB10 Max 2 when you spend more than $500. This is also struggling, so PSP is not there yet. This is a disappointment on this chipset because I really think we could do better. Even with frame skip, I wouldn't call this playable. This dropshipper does have a USA warehouse, so they say they can ship out in 3 to 5 days. And I'm happy to say that so far they haven't sent me any rocks. Let's try Alien Syndrome. This is one of my personal favorites. Okay. Hey, look at this. This one we are holding a stable 30 FPS. This feels full speed. Okay, couple dips when effects come on screen. I would call this playable. So we are going to find some PSP games that are playable. I don't expect God of War to give us too much to work with, or even games like Daxter, but Any of your 2D titles, some of the lighter 3D titles, I think are going to be workable as is. And again, let me say that there is further software optimization to be done on this chipset. We can do better. Now, you can do Moonlight game streaming on here to your PC. And streaming is a use case since this does have Wi-Fi. I would have to say the screen looks nice at that 720 by 1280 resolution. Maybe we'll play a little Alien Hominid for fun. And a wide screen like this is going to look good for PSP content. It's going to look good for GBA content. I hate that we have so much bezel. But that is what it is. I mean, even with widescreen content, you're going to see just this extra bezel. Nice thing, too, about it being wide is you can probably do Tate mode, and that's going to look decent. D-pad, again, mushy but feels good. Joysticks feel like your standard Switch joysticks. Face buttons are good. You know, it feels like the Arcade 2023's face buttons. I just can't stand the shoulders. So loud. Makes me want to yell, PowKiddy. PowKiddy. But in general, I'm having fun with it. It's good. It's fine. It's a 3566 device. I don't like that it's over $100. If you want to get the base price model from PowKiddy directly, you can get it as low as $90. But I do like the benefits and the perks from going with the drop shipper, as we've needed to rely on them for things like the Miu Mini Plus for other devices where the original seller doesn't even have them yet. Let's also do some Nintendo DS. We got to enable our powers. Now these guys are no problem. What? Come at me, brah. Bratwurst. All right. Well, what do we think? This is another 3566 chip. Not as prevalent as the T618 line or as the 3326, but this is one we're going to continue to see releases from. It's a pretty good performance to price ratio for this chipset. You're going to be enjoying content again up to N64, PSP, Dreamcast, PSP with a caveat right now. DS obviously needs a little bit of love and attention, but I've been impressed with this so far. I would say in comparison to other devices in this chipset line, I do enjoy the Arcade 2023 more because it's 4.3, because it's cheaper, and I'm okay without the Wi-Fi for that price point. This is a big step up in what you're paying, but if people enjoy having that 16:9 content, they want to play some light PSP, they want to play a lot of Game Boy Advance, I think this is a pretty good option. It's really up to you and what your wallet says and what your heart says. So I appreciate that this is here as an option. I'm not 100% on it myself. It does have, again, beautiful IPS screen, which is 60 hertz, 720p panel, looks very much like a Switch Lite panel. Pretty good battery size. There is plenty of space inside the case to upgrade to a bigger battery. That's good. The ABS blue plastic, I like on this. I like that it's matte. No complaints on the D-pad or the face buttons this time. I just don't like the very, very clicky buttons. Shoulders are a nightmare. Ergonomics-wise are fine, but just the sound. I don't really have much preference for where power or reset is, as long as it's not right where like the function button is, which this is lacking a function button, so keep that in mind. Getting into this to do modding and things like that, you got easy access here. Just pull these little things out, pull the screws out, and you're going to be able to probably swap out buttons with similar sized ones, put in a bigger battery. They do sell a screen protector at Go Game Geek if you don't want to do the janky Razer Phone 2 fix, but not too bad, no, all in all. Yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. We have more content on the way on this. We got to compare it to some of the others. The latest 353 PS, which is also a great option for a 4.3 device with this chipset. And that's going to be coming in around the same price point as the PowKiddy site for this, so about $80, $90. But this from Go Game Geek, picking it up in our description if you want to get it from them. Do remember, if you're going to get one, you might as well get a few things and get yourself a free RGB20S, which is that viral TikTok handheld, or get yourself something like the 351 MP, which is an excellent metal 3326 device still to this day. But that's going to wrap it up for us today. Please do like, comment, and subscribe. Tell your friends this is the channel to watch if you are into handhelds, if you're into retro gaming. And thanks again to all of our awesome subs and patrons. We couldn't do anything without you. None of this would be possible. This pays for our infrastructure, keeping the lights on, getting equipment to do what we do. So thank you to everybody here. And this has been Stubbs with Retro Handhelds. We will see you on the next. Take care of your handhelds and take care of each other.